Raphael from Curtin University in Western Australia.
And I'm Dr. Celia Lam from the University of Notre Dame Australia in Sydney, Australia.
So together we've been doing some research into bromances, looking at how they're used for a promotional tool within the film industry specifically.
So I suppose what we've been looking at in terms of bromances is if they're as a promotional tool, how audiences and fans in particular respond to them. So what are your thoughts on how or why fans act so positively to bromances?
I think the thing about bromance is that fans want to believe that celebrities are friends. So whether it's males and females or two males, and obviously we're specifically looking at the relationship between two males within celebrity culture. So I think that fans like to believe that they are friends, that they're bonding, because they get to see a side of them that they wouldn't normally see. In an interview situation, it's usually quite rigid, so seeing them have a sort of bromance in an interview format just allows them to kind of see a bit more of a fun side of them, and they want to believe in that, and that they could also perhaps be friends with them at some point in the future.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think I completely agree with that, and I think when fans watch these sorts of videos, especially when they're online and they're watching them sort of in the comfort of their own home, and they're able to add comments to it, they feel like by adding comments they're able to sort of add their own voice into the bromance, and also go some way into actually creating it and popularising it and publicising it as well, because they can, make up names, which we've seen as well. Make up names,
Fast Boy,
McBender, and and it's really interesting to see when and how these names are changed. I remember watching a clip, which was an interview with James McAvoy, and already, and this was really early on, I think, in their bromance, already there were so many fan-made bromance names, which is playing on, the ship names that you see in fiction texts, and all of that.
And the celebrities seem to embrace that as well, and they seem to enjoy being part of that, and in fact recognise it and then use it for promotional purposes. So it kind of starts off with the consumer and the fans, and they get sold back to them in that cycle.
Yeah, then the fans pick up on it, and then they make things with it and incorporate it into their own works, and it sort of gets funneled back into this big circle or cycle of media production, which I think is probably, again, going back to the original question, I think that's probably why fans enjoy it so much, because they can see the result of their own works being picked up by the media and being promoted, and so it's like they've got confirmation that they're being listened to in some way. And in a way, they're sort of commenting on. It's almost like they kind of take on like a knowing sort of a position, because they can say, "Well, I saw him do this sort of performance in this interview, and then now he's doing the same thing." And it's quite funny that he's telling the same story in two different situations, which I think is a really interesting.
It's also interesting with the Fassbender and McAvoy relationship that there's certain stories that they do retell, which can in some ways add authenticity to their friendship, but can also remove from that because it becomes so repeated that is it just a staged thing, in particular BB Gunn's story that they repeatedly tell. But I also think that because they've got such a long history, that people like to look at where it started, and even themselves, they don't really know where it started. It sort of grew naturally, but people like the idea that they have this history, and so therefore their bromance is real or authentic.
Authentic, or at least that because they could trace the history of it, they could see it sort of growing and developing, much like a ordinary or like a normal sort of off-screen friendship. That there's like some sense of ownership from the fans as well over the whole idea of them as a bromance, and so they feel really close to the idea of the couple, I'm calling them a couple. The idea of the two actors as a pair, as a romantic couple in a way, and I think it's probably quite rewarding for fans in that way, and there's some psychological.
What do you think makes a bromance? Is there any key factors?
It's so hard to quantify. I think authenticity or perceived authenticity is a big factor. This idea of it being really genuine and not pre-planned or pre-staged, which is why when fans do kind of pull them up about telling the same story twice, then it's not necessarily detracting from the sort of the quality of their bromance, but it is sort of highlighting the fact that the fans are paying attention and the fans are pointing things out. that might influence how they're perceiving.
Yeah.
I
think banter is another big part of it.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes back to what I was talking about before, that enjoyment factor.
Yeah.
So seeing other celebrities enjoy themselves, hanging out, bonding, it allows fans to feel like it is real, and it's also entertainment. So it's a new form of entertainment.
Yeah.
We're used to seeing interviews with, we used to look for, details about their personal lives in interviews, or about their history and so forth. And now it's about providing enough entertainment in an interview slot that it will then live on through YouTube and other social media sites.
So it's like turning your interview allotted times, like 4 or 5 minutes, into another performance.
Yeah.
So and I mean that's a lot of theories looked at that, but I think because the junket interviews are now uploaded as raw footage almost onto the internet. Obviously, there's a lot of vested interest in it. There's a lot of good reasons for why that's done, because it promotes the often rather small production companies or the small entertainment-related, maybe online sort of entertainment companies that send their reporters out to interview these people. And so having fans watching that and getting more sort of likes or views for your video is really going to improve your the success of your particular company. So it's like all these different interests are there, and so the actors feel the need to give a good performance, because it used to just be, you chat to a journalist, there's no videos, it's just them taking notes.
It airs once.
It airs, or maybe it only airs once, and that's it. Now it's there for perpetuity, so you want to make sure that your performance as a friendship is consistent.
Yes,
throughout
exactly.
as well.
Consistency in all those interviews is a lot to cover.
Yeah,
and especially with something like X-Men, which is a long-term franchise that, if they're maintaining a bromance within that, it's got to keep going for many years. It's not, and there's also that factor of how authentic is it is their bromance continuing between shooting films? Especially when there's years in between. How often do they see each other, or what is it that they do when they're not shooting and things like that? And I think those little stories are what helps to feed the myth of their bromance, whether or not it's true. It could be a real bromance, they could be truly friends, but a lot of the time it is just about that perceived authenticity that we talk about.
And I like the way that, I like how you said myth, because we're talking about performance essentially here. We can't really gauge whether it's genuine or it's real or not, but it's all about whether it feels like it's real, and whether it reads as genuine. Because I think if you can tell that they're kind of putting it on, so to speak, then fans can spot that instantly. Exactly. Especially because there are so many of these junket interviews that are being pushed out, and they're usually done within 1 or 2 days.
Yes.
The performance can get stale really quickly if it is a performance. So there has to be some sort of genuine connection between the actors, or they have to be really good actors.
Yeah, that's true.
I would personally, hopefully, as a fan, favour the performer rather than the runner. You want the actors to get along.
Yeah, there's something nice about knowing that they're enjoying what they're doing while they're creating entertainment for the fans. Yeah, and I think that is the fact that fans like, and they want to see that. The other thing I find interesting is the cross-promotional use of romances. So, for example, you've got Supernatural, television show, Arrow, Vampire Diaries, and there's a lot of cross-promotion between all the male actors within those shows in particular. And using that sort of friendship and crossover between the shows, it seems to help to promote all the shows at once. But also creates this idea that they're all friendly, fun guys, you know, and whether or not that's true, we don't know. And again, it's that perceived identity that's created for all of those people that are involved in that sort of romance or friendship. Yeah,
and I think when the fans can see that they do get along, it's almost like this idea of it doesn't really matter what happens on screen. It's the intrigue and the mystique about what happens off screen. So even if they're playing sort of friends on screen or brothers or whatever on screen, it's almost like the fans would enjoy seeing them get along off screen as well, because it's reinforcing the nice dynamic and the nice chemistry they're seeing on screen. But if they're playing sort of enemies on screen, again, it sort of reassures the fans, I suppose, in a way, if they are seen to get along off screen, because then it's like, okay, well that only belongs on screen, and that sort of animosity doesn't flow off screen, and behind the scenes we've got this idea of like you said before, this idea that they're having fun while creating entertainment for us because we enjoy watching it, and by extension, we want the actors to enjoy it as well. Which is, I think it's a nice little humanistic way of looking at this sort of cultural economy. But I think I think that's probably one of the reasons why bromances are so present and prevalent. Yes.
And why do you think it's really increased in a modern day context? Because it's been around for a while. We've established that through the research that we've done ourselves. The term itself is somewhat new, but the actual use of it for promotional purposes seems to be increasing, or seems to be noticed a lot more. Do you think that's to do with social media?
I think it has to do with social media because not only can sort of media corporations and magazines, etc., use social media to promote this, and fans can pick up on it and sort of carry it forward via word of mouth on social media. The celebrities themselves can play it up through social media, tweeting pictures of themselves with a bro, or tweeting each other. There's quite a lot of there's a couple of actors, or the two actors who are from the London stage. They do musical theatre, and they tweet each other, and they tweet each other and really sort of as bros, using bromance, using the term bromance, and saying, "Oh, I love you, man," and all that sort of stuff. When they're tweeting each other, and of course their followers see this, and they'll retweet it, and that just perpetuates the myth of their bromance, and it makes it seem more genuine, and it makes it seem more authentic. So I think that's probably why, and then again, of course, the media is picking up on this, and it's feeding it back into the way that they're sort of structuring these promotional campaigns. But the idea of bromance has been around for a while, but it hasn't really been used, or the term hasn't really been used until quite recently, or like the recent last 20 years or so. So there's a lot of things to talk about forever.
Alright. Thank you for watching. This has been Celebrity Chat.